Exodus chapter 29, the consecration of priest. This is the ceremony you must perform when you consecrate them to serve me in the priesthood. Take 1 young bull and 2 rams without any defect, and unleavened bread, unleavened cakes mixed with oil, and unleavened wafers spread with oil, all made from fine wheat flour. You must put these things into a basket and present them in the basket, along with the young bull and the 2 rams. Then you shall bring Aaron and his sons to the entrance of the tent of meeting, and they are to be bathed. Take the vestments and dress Aaron in the tunic, the robe of the ephod, and the breastpiece, and gird him with the woven band of ephod. Put the turban on his head and attach the diadem to it. Then take the chrism oil and pour it on his head, and so anoint him. Next, bring his sons and clothe them with tunics. Pass the girdles around their waist and put the turbans on their heads, and the priesthood will be theirs by an irrevocable statute. This is how you are to invest Aaron and his sons. You are to bring the bull in front of the tent of meeting. Aaron and his sons are to lay their hands on its head. Slaughter the bull therefore before the Lord at the entrance of the tent of meeting. Then take some of its blood and with your finger put it on the horns of the altar. Next, pour out the rest of the blood at the foot of the altar, and then take all the fat that covers the inner organs, the fatty mass which is over the liver, the 2 kidneys with their covering fat, and burn them on the altar. As for the bull's flesh, its skin, and its tongue, you must burn them outside the camp, for it is an offering to take away sins. Next, you are to take 1 of the rams. Aaron and his sons are to lay their hands on its head. You are to slaughter the ram, take up its blood, and pour it all around the altar. Next, divide the ram in pieces and wash the inner organs and legs, and put them with the head and the other pieces. Then burn the whole ram on the altar. It is a burnt offering to the Lord, an offering by fire, a sweet aroma that appeases the Lord. Next, you are to take the other ram. Aaron and his sons are to lay their hands on its head. You are to slaughter the ram, take some of its blood, and put it on the lobe of Aaron's right ear, on the lobes of his sons' right ears, on the thumbs of their right hands, and on the big toes of their right feet, and pour out the rest of the blood all around the altar. Then take some of the blood that remains on the altar, together with some of the anointing oil, and sprinkle it on Aaron and his vestments, and on his sons and on their vestments, so that he and his vestments will be consecrated, and his sons too and their vestments. You are to take the fatty parts of the ram, the fatty tail, the fat that covers the inner organs, the fatty mass which is over the liver, the 2 kidneys with the fat that is on them, and also the right thigh, for this is a ram for the investiture ceremony. You are to take a loaf of bread, a cake of bread made with oil, and a wafer from the basket of unleavened bread placed before the Lord, and put it all into Aaron's hands and those of his sons, and make the gesture of offering before the Lord. Then you are to take them back from them and burn them on the altar on top of the burnt offering as an offering by fire, a sweet aroma that appeases the Lord. You are to take the breast of the ram of Aaron's investiture and make the gesture of offering before the Lord. This is to be your own portion. You are to consecrate the breast that has been thus offered, as also the thigh that is set aside, the breast which has been offered, and the thigh that has been set aside from the ram. This, by an irrevocable statute, will be the portion that Aaron and his sons are to receive from the sons of Israel. This is the portion set aside, a portion the sons of Israel had to set aside from their communion sacrifices, the portion they owed to the Lord. Aaron's sacred vestments are to pass to his sons after him, and they will wear them for their anointing and investiture. The son of Aaron who comes after him in the priesthood and enters the tent of meeting to serve in the sanctuary must wear them for 7 days. You are to take the ram used for the investiture and cook its meat in a holy place. Aaron and his sons will eat the meat of the ram and the bread that is in the basket at the entrance to the tent of meeting. They are to eat what was used in the ceremony of atonement and consecration. No unauthorized person may eat these because they are holy things. If any of the meat from the investiture ceremony or the bread should be left till morning, you must put what is left in the fire. It is not to be eaten because it is a holy thing. For Aaron and his sons you are to do exactly as I have commanded you. You are to spend 7 days in the investiture. On each of these 7 days you are also to offer a bull as a sacrifice for sin in atonement. By offering an atonement sacrifice for sin, you will take away sin from the altar, then you must anoint it and so consecrate it. For 7 days you are to repeat the atonement sacrifice for the altar and consecrate it. So it will be extremely holy, and whatever touches it will become holy. This is what you are to offer on the altar: 2 yearling lambs, day by day continually. The first lamb you must offer in the morning, the second in the evening twilight. With the first lamb you must offer 1/10 of ephah of fine flour mixed with 1/4 of a hin of purest oil, and 1/4 of a hin of wine as a libation. The second lamb you must offer in the evening twilight. Do these with the same amounts of flour, olive oil, and wine as in the morning. This is an offering by fire of sweet aroma that appeases the Lord. This is the perpetual whole burnt offering which is to be offered from generation to generation at the entrance to the tent of meeting in the presence of the Lord. That is where I shall meet you and speak to you. There I will meet the people of Israel, and this place will be consecrated by the presence of my glory. In this way I will consecrate the tent of meeting and the altar, and Aaron too and his sons to be priests in my service. For I will remain with the people of Israel, and I will be their God. And so they will know that I, the Lord, am their God, who brought them out of the land of Egypt to live among them. I am the Lord, their God. Exodus chapter 20, the altar of incense. You must make an altar on which to burn incense. You are to make it out of acacia wood. It is to be 1 cubit long and 1 cubit wide, that is to say, square, and to stand 2 cubits high. Its horns are to be one piece with it. The top of the altar, its surrounding sides, and its horns are to be covered with pure gold and decorated with a gold edging all around. You are to put 2 gold rings on it below the edging on its 2 opposite sides. These are to hold the poles used for carrying it. These poles you must make of acacia wood and cover with gold. You are to set up the altar before the veil that protects the ark of the testimony in front of the mercy seat, from where I shall meet you. On this altar Aaron must burn fragrant incense each morning when he trims the lamps, and in the evening twilight when Aaron puts up the lamps again, he must burn it once more. You must make these offerings of incense before the Lord unfailingly from generation to generation. You must not offer unholy incense on this altar, or whole burnt offering, or grain offering, or pour out any wine offering on it. Once a year Aaron is to perform the libation atonement on the horns of this altar. He shall perform the rite with the blood of the victim to take away sins, and you shall do the same once a year in the generations to come. This ceremony will be extremely holy in the eyes of the Lord. Census tax. The Lord spoke to Moses and said, when you take a census and make a register of the people of Israel, each is to pay the Lord a ransom for his life, so that no disaster comes on them when the census is being made. Everyone subject to the census must pay the required amount of money, half a shekel, weighed according to the official temple standard, and this shall be set aside for the Lord. Everyone subject to the census, that is to say, of 20 years and over, must pay the sum set aside for the Lord. The rich man is not to give more, nor the poor man less than a half a shekel in their contribution to the Lord to pay the forfeit for their lives. You must use this ransom money given to you by the people of Israel for the upkeep of the tent of meeting. It will remind the Lord of the people of Israel and will be the ransom for your lives. Basin for washing. The Lord spoke to Moses and said, you must make a bronze basin with a bronze standing for washing. You must place it between the tent of meeting and the altar and put water in it. In this water Aaron and his sons must wash their hands and feet. When they are about to enter the tent of meeting, they must wash in water lest they die. And when they have to approach the altar for their service to burn the offering burned in honor of the Lord, they must wash their hands and feet lest they die. This is an irrevocable statute for them, for Aaron and for his descendants from generation to generation. Anointing oil. The Lord spoke to Moses and said, take the choicest spices, 12 pounds of liquid myrrh, 6 pounds of sweet-smelling cinnamon, 6 pounds of scented cane, and 12 pounds of cassia, all weighed according to the official temple standard, and 1 gallon of olive oil. These you are to make it into a holy oil for anointing, such a blend as the perfumer might make. It is a holy chrism. With it you are to anoint the tent of meeting and the ark of the testimony, the table and all its furnishings, the lampstand and all its accessories, the altar of incense, the altar of whole burnt offering with all its furnishings, and the basin with all its stand. In this way you shall consecrate them, and they will remain extremely holy, and whatever touches them will become holy. You must anoint Aaron and his sons and consecrate them, so that they may be priests in my service. Then you are to say to the people of Israel, this oil for anointing is to be considered holy from generation to generation. It is not to be poured on the bodies of common men, nor are you to make any other oil of the same mixture. It is a holy thing, and you must consider it holy. Whoever makes a perfume like this or uses it on an unauthorized person shall be outlawed from his people. Incense. The Lord said to Moses, take sweet spices, storax, onycha, galbanum, sweet spices and pure frankincense in equal parts, and make an incense such as the perfumer might make, salted, pure and holy. Crush a part of it into a fine powder and put some of this in front of the testimony in the tent of meeting, the place appointed for my meetings with you. You must regard it as most holy. You are not to make any incense with this recipe for your own. You must hold it to be a holy thing reserved for the Lord. Whoever copies it for use as perfume shall be outlawed from his people. Psalm 36. Human wickedness and divine providence. Sin speaks to the wicked deep in his heart. Blinded by conceit, he fails to see his guilt. The words of his mouth are full of malice and deceit. He has ceased to be wise and to do good. Persisting in his crooked ways, he plots mischief even in bed, committed to a life of sin. He does not know how to reject evil. Your love, O Lord, rises to the heavens, your faithfulness to the clouds. Your justice is like the mighty mountains, your judgments are like the unsounded deep. You preserve, O Lord, both man and beast. How precious, O God, is your constant love. All people, both low and high, find refuge in the shadow of your wings. In your house they find rich food, and they drink from your springs of delight. For with you is the fountain of life. In your light we see light. Bestow on your faithful your unfailing love, and give salvation to the upright of heart. Let not the arrogant foot trample on me, nor the wicked hand drive me away. See how the evildoers lie fallen, battered, and never again to rise. Matthew chapter 23, verse 1 to 22. Against the teachers of the law and the Pharisees. Then Jesus said to the crowds and to his disciples, the teachers of the law and the Pharisees occupy the seat of Moses. Listen and do all they say, but do not imitate what they do, for they do not practice what they teach. They bind up heavy burdens that are hard to carry and lay them on the shoulders of the people, but they themselves would not even raise a finger to move them. They do everything in order to be seen by people, so they wear very white bands around their foreheads and robes with large tassels. They like to occupy the first places at feasts and reserve seats in the synagogues. They also enjoy being greeted in the marketplace and being called Rabbi by the people. But do not let yourself be called Rabbi, because you have only one master and all of you are brothers. Neither should you call anyone on earth Father, for you have only one Father, and he is in heaven. Nor should you be called teacher, because Christ is the only teacher for you. Let the greatest among you be the servant of all, for whoever makes himself great shall be humbled, and whoever humbles himself shall be made great. Therefore, woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You shut the door to the kingdom of heaven in people's faces. You yourself do not enter, nor do you allow those who are entering to do so. Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You travel by sea and land to win a single convert. Yet once he is converted, you make him twice as fit for hell as yourselves. Woe to you, blind guides, you say, to swear by the temple is not binding, but to swear by the treasure of the temple is. Blind fools, which is more worth, the gold in the temple or the temple which makes the gold sacred? You say to swear by the altar is not binding, but to swear by the offering on the altar is. Blind man, which is more value, the offering on the altar or the altar that makes the offering sacred? Whoever swears by the altar is swearing by the altar and by everything on it. Whoever swears by the temple is swearing by it and by God who dwells in the temple. Whoever swears by heaven is swearing by the throne of God and by him who is seated on it.